Hey everyone, this is your Ravens'Voice host, Zealous here to drop some news about the upcoming release, Armored Core Verdict Day on PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. Brand new highlights for this title include new story and missions, over 100 new parts including weapon arms and shields, a total of 56 maps to battle on, revamped parts with a renewed tuning and upgrading system, a setting for players to take in-game screenshots of all the action, a revamped conquest system now called World Mode, a system that will allow players and teams to earn special medals for their efforts, as well as a function for operators to control AI units. Verdict Day launches September 24th for the US and September 27th in Europe. Keep your bookmarks locked on facebook.com/armoredcore for more information and updates.
Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. You're locked into the September 14th podcast for Ravens'Voice with our Armored Core 5 exhibition coverage. This is Zealous here, and as always, Tierson.
And not as always, but often enough.
True enough.
Hello.
Hope everybody's doing well. We are just coming off the exhibition ourselves. Things kicked off around, it's about 2 p.m. Central or so. I know we were both on a little bit before that time.
A little early. Yeah.
A little earlier. I got to hang out in Cheng's room for about the first 40 minutes or so, and then Tierson, I know you said you got some gameplay in too. Where were you hanging out?
I don't remember where I was, but I saw a couple regulars on the forums and such. And then it didn't take too long, and we ended up getting our channel going. But yeah, things were going kind of early.
Yeah, they were. I think part of that always comes down to early prep. When you're trying to help host something, it's usually natural to get in and get things established, especially on Cheng's side, 'cause he always does recording. And but we got right in. It wasn't as difficult to get there this time, with the room being full. I think I kind of felt that this weekend caught a few people off guard. It's enough people heard about it. I don't know how the Xbox side went, but I got in with no problems. Cheng threw me like 5 invites and hopped right in and got the first games in there, and then we started hosting ours.
What's up with that?
Never sends you an invite. Maybe you didn't say the right password. Heck.
Yeah. All right. So let's.
Who knows?
Anyway, so I was hanging out with a couple people beforehand, and of course you and I we planned on getting a channel going, or a room going, I should say, which we did for most of the day.
Yeah, it was again, it was about 1:30 Central when we started playing, and you left after I did. It was about what was that, 7:30? Did you say?
Yeah, you left about 7. Yeah. I left about half an hour later. I was pretty AC'd out by that.
Yeah.
We hung out a lot longer in the last exhibition a couple months ago, but we did take a long break in between.
We did. We had more of a space, and the breaks I felt were a little shorter on this one. We had a food break or two, or to go hop up and grab a drink, etc. But things were just pretty down to it and pretty focused, and maybe some of that was because just the intensity of the matches we had today.
Yeah. Well, okay, sure.
Maybe. We'll get into this more as we discuss it, but we were talking about this beforehand. One thing that impacted us today was just how focused people were on the matches, and just the level of play. That was really a blast. We got a chance to play with a good deal of sun towards the end. Desiccation was streaming. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. We had Desiccation running, and a number of members stopped by. People from ACL, people from all over various forums, and some of them was our first time to get to really hang out, on PSN with them. So,
well, aren't most people from ACL at this point?
This guy.
It's just the truth. I think that most active members right now of the community are they have a membership over at ACL at this point. So that's simply all I'm saying. Overall, I'm gonna compare this exhibition to the last one, and the last one was absolutely humongous. It took everybody by surprise how many people showed up. Cheng. This one not as big. Definitely not as big, and I'm not really sure what to say. Contributes to that. I think first and foremost, you have to do with where we are in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think there's definitely correlation on who we saw play today versus who we saw playing then, and we did see some of the same people, but definitely, I don't think there. I think there is a correlation. I don't think there is a surprise that a lot of the people that we saw today are people who are paying attention to the community, who are paying attention to the forums. And
Right.
I think at this point in the lifespan of AC5, I mean, come on, it's a little surprising that it even has a pulse at all. So, and that's just the way these games go. They have their lifespan, especially when you have an expansion coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And this serves to be true for most games that have expansions coming out. People stop playing more and more as you get closer to the expansion, and then it spikes. And I don't think in Armored Core's case it's really going to spike. I think today was the spike that we would, and I just think that's the way it is. So not as many people, but like you were mentioning, definitely some more. I don't want to say serious, but definitely a lot more competitive today. Whereas a couple months back with the last exhibition, it was a lot more easygoing, free flowing and such. Not today though. Definitely a lot more aggressive. I got, I had a lot of fun overall. I got my ass handed to me quite a bit today.
And we had I know last time in the last exhibition we had just a number of new faces. Like you were saying, there were just a couple people today that were like, "Oh, it's an exhibition today." They were kind of shocked, but for the most part, everyone knew what was going on. And the designs you saw come into play and whatnot, and the strats, I think they reflected that. In terms of hard hits, yeah, people running everything from kickers to over weapons to Zume laser tanks with some great accuracy and great efficiency. Man, there was plenty to blow your face off today. Um, I know I took what was it? I took a mass blade at one point. Yeah,
There were some matches where there were a
yeah.
lot of over weapons. Like I was
Oh yeah, yeah.
And also a lot of snipers today. A little surprised to see that so much. Everything else was exactly what I thought I'd see.
Hmm.
But yeah, definitely a lot more over weapons and a lot more snipers than I'm used to seeing.
Yep, definitely. Elements that we've seen strong before, such as a heavy use of PMG. Obviously, to really harp on low TE defenses. Saw a bit of plasma towards the end. I don't know if you caught some of that, but yeah, plasma and pulse. There's a great mix of that. Definitely your favorite gun that you don't get, as you mentioned in earlier podcasts. 'Cause there's some great Kurosawa play today too. Um, yeah, I don't know if you caught enough of the four shotters, but we did have a number of builds running those.
Yeah, I know you were one of them. You killed me a couple times with that.
I should have updated that quad a little more, for use of because the last time I looked at some of the specs on that, it was from a previous update. But that doesn't matter a ton because we got the list of what was changed patch to patch. Looking at that design though, I just said this should have been changed. This defense should have. But whatever, it was fun. I tried to run the circuit as best I could. Just use some of my support designs. I got to bring my fortress design out. Usually that would come out at Alpine. Just because of the proximity and yeah, just pulled out everything I wanted. Even got the Giga Missile design out that you kept nudging me to make use of, and
Yeah,
it
that
was
you
fun.
used twice.
Just twice, just twice.
No, no,
Oh
we
man.
we were going to try doing a dual a Giga Missile kind of team up thing. We tried it a couple times. Of course, the Giga Missile is that's hard to use properly to begin with, just because it's a hard one to get a lock to keep a lock while the weapon's loading up to shoot, and of course, there's a very good chance that you're just going to get your ass handed to you for trying to use it. So. But we tried having a little fun with that. It didn't work out so great, but it's always fun to use that. That's my favorite over weapon, the
Yeah.
gig missile. And so it was fun.
Yeah, it was earlier on in the day. It's kind of funny too because we had a short talk about uh, mortaring it versus locking with it, but it's a whole different story, man. So, one another good thing we got to do today, it was with some of the members. We did this last time. Is just throw a bit of chat out about what's happening with AC. In terms of not just the community, but with Verdict Day coming up. Obviously, that's a big thing in everyone's list. People are waiting to play that, but there's still a lot of thoughts going around about it. I was I got to talk with Desiccation when things died down a bit. We actually had some lulls today, like just some quiet patches, and the action wasn't used to that. I know last time it was just constant full, constant full, constant full every room, and every time you remade, everything would fill up again. But I mean, we dropped down to 3v3. We had some 2v2s at one point, and that gave us a chance to just really sit back and shoot the breeze about things. I got to.
Well, also what gives us a chance to sit back is that you almost run the clock before every single match.
Whatevs. Whatevs.
But part of why that happened though was because the servers died and everyone. And I
Yeah,
actually
yeah, good point.
think they killed the momentum a little bit for today's event, and definitely it seemed like things weren't as busy after that happened.
No, they weren't. Because you had a disconnect and I had a hard crash as well. Right
Well,
there.
everybody, I came back from mine, and everybody that was on my friends list was offline. So I'm like, oh, geez, what the heck happened?
Yeah, yeah, it did seem to flip it. Everybody we were in the room with earlier, we really didn't see them come around too. I know Wave Samurai, someone we met during the first exhibition, and who subscribed here. Thank you, great seeing you. He was hanging with us through most of our rooms, and then that changed, and didn't see him later in the day. But yeah, I had a hard crash myself that I couldn't get out of, and obviously that chunked things up a bit. I think at that point we were both off for a little bit, and then we eventually got things back on track. So
Well, and part of what ruined my day a little bit was that with my new job, I'm kind of on call whenever I'm really needed. So that's why I live on site. But yeah, I constantly got interrupted. Well, not constantly, but a few times throughout the day, I got interrupted with work, and so I had to step away for a bit. But no, we played for well, at least 5 hours. I'd say an average about 5 hours for each of us, and it was great to hang out with everyone. Great to actually hear some voices and play with some people that I've met over the last couple months
yep,
since the podcast started, since ACL's been out. Some people I've gotten to know, so that was really cool. I mean, in that regard, that was fun. Obviously, just playing some Armored Core is fun. So yeah, still really good. But again, I think the first exhibition really just kind of outshined this one.
yeah. I mean, in terms of definitely in terms of attendance too. We've been over that a little bit, but overall, the ones who were there, people were cool about things. They got along just fine. We went between team shuffling, at the start, and then later on we just did manual. Switching for teams. But nope, everybody was cool with things, got along well with it, and they were chill about the operator spot too. We tended to swap out a lot. I know we just started running it kind of like a round robin, towards the end. If someone hadn't been in before, we just swapped out. And it was nice too if someone new would come in if they wanted to play. I always tried to kind of back off and give them a chance to hop in and play and just spectate a bit because that's part of what this is about. We just uh, at least for me, I always think it's a lot of fun to just kick back every now and then and see, just watch from that bird's eye, the whole battlefield and what's going on and what people run. It's a blast.
So, what was your favorite match of the day? What was your favorite moment of the day in the matches?
Favorite moment of the day, man. There's a lot that stood out. I gotta say, just because it got so personal, I think, and even though I'm not quite into the map, uh, I think this was during the 2-on-2, when you started chasing me through Alpine.
Shut up.
Just started an outright brawl. Man, it got heated. We ended up going all the way through the bunker and then coming out through the other end. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, that was
Yeah,
rough.
you got me, but that's because you were using your freaking fortress block. I knew it halfway through. I'm like, I am not doing shit to this guy. He's got built on defense because my AC uses a fair amount of each of
Right.
the three different weapon types. So, but I knew I should have been doing more damage to you than I was. But I had to keep on. At that point, I was committed to it. I'm
Yeah, you
chasing
were.
through the base, and so I had to go all the way
You
through it.
were. You were
So
running
that
through
was
it.
your thing when we came out of that, and then he just crushed me. Is that it?
No, I'm gonna backtrack at this a little bit and say that was probably up there for moments, but in terms of matches, I think you were there for some of them too. At not executive, um, Abandoned City. Abandoned City. That's the one.
Hmm.
in fact, I think some of the closest matches that I can recall were held there. Just really intense. A number of nail biters. We'd come down to either, to be like a 4-on-4, and we come down to like a 2-on-1 or a 1-on-1 or whatnot. And even if you were alive, there would usually be critical AP flying. Just rough. There is some vicious artillery being thrown around. That was about the point in the day. I want to say around 5-ish, 4:35-ish, when it feels like a lot of the really TE energy damage really started to come into high effect and high play, and we could verify that a bit, of course, by checking out Desiccation's channel, because I know this will be up from the stream. But that's what I remember. That was really some of the most intense play, and I felt really required a lot of focus too. Great usage of cover, lots of stuff that made you think. Definitely situations you just couldn't just charge in guns blazing. So that's what I really enjoyed. So many there.
I think my favorite one. I'm trying to remember the name of this board, this map, which is the one that so many people have played on, the desert one. What's that called?
Abandoned facility.
Abandoned facility. That's it. That was I was on my tank.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably my favorite one. I think this was my first tank match of the day,
Mm-hmm.
and I had a guy with the grind blade was chasing after me, literally doing circles around me, trying to line it up to hit me with it, and I was moving myself, and I just shot him down dead. It didn't work. It was just, and I gave him some shit after the match. I'm like, how do you miss the tank? How do you miss the tank with that thing? No, but it can be tough because shoot everything, and my tank uses pretty much all heavy artillery, so. But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I always have fun with the tank. That's why I made one in AC5. I can tell
Right.
tanks were do a lot better overall. In previous games, tanks were very frustrating. But I always have fun with the tank. So this tank does get retired with AC5, but I'm expecting to make weapon arm tanks from here on out with Verdict Day.
Oh snap!
As well, it should be. It is a tank. It's just kind of weird to have your tank with hands and fingers. It's like, but yeah, no, that was my favorite though. Probably there. And generally, I don't like abandoned facility because it gets used way too much. And I understand why it does. It gives a good variety of a lot of what you want out of the map. But holy crap, it's overused. So, but no, right, yeah, that would probably be it. On my tank and abandoned facility, which of course that board is good for tanks too. Just in general, it's good for them.
Sure.
So.
Oh no, I don't know if you recalled it. I thought I had a front row seat to this one. That there was another another instance of a grind blade chasing you down at oh goodness, the mining sector.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you ran into that one, but someone had taken a huge swing at you that you narrowly got by. It was a miss, but still, they caught your attention afterwards. So it was like you got the heat from that today. I got the mass blade, so that only I guess it's only fitting.
Well, and like we said, the over weapons were all over the place today, and we participated in that as well, bringing out the Giga missiles as well. And I think a lot of people, and you said it in the past, you said it a couple times today. This is probably the last hurrah for Armored Core 5, and so I think that's why some people, I think that's why in general, saying this right now, I think that's why we saw what we saw. Why we saw a lot more people being competitive. And then at the same time, maybe some people trying some builds that they normally wouldn't use.
Right. And, in a way, I can't say that that's a bad thing at all. I really liked how that was a true call for, it was just unspoken. It was a true call for everyone. Hey, matches just got an inch more serious, kick things up a bit. And, it wasn't in a derogative way or anything, but I personally like when sometimes that shift happens in AC rooms. That really brought me back to some of the old Kai play when Kura Kenshin and Yaka and some of the others were in, and you'd start going through a pace of matches, and no one would say it, no one would tell you directly, oh, do this or use this design, but you could really feel from just the pace and just the raw aptitude of the matches where you needed to amp things up to, and that's always a cool call as a player. So
yeah, I didn't like it because I kind of suck right now. So I got my ass kicked today for the most part. I did not do nearly as well as I did last. No. Honestly, on that topic, though, I'm very much looking forward to Verdict Day because it is a bit of a clean slate. I've mentioned in previous shows, I just didn't get the time that I wanted to devote
Right,
to
right.
those,
Well,
and I'm looking forward to getting that time because I think I do have it in large part for Verdict Day. And so, with all the changes and all the new stuff that's coming in, I think I think I said a couple shows back where I wouldn't even consider myself at a competitive level right now with AC5. Certainly not in comparison to where I used to be. So I'm looking forward to the opportunity of kind of
right.
the restart.
Well, part of that too is because of, you were saying when you came in with AC5, you picked up AC5. How many months into it? Did you say?
Oh, just two.
A couple months into it, but yeah, yeah, it's crazy though. It does not take long, especially for the AC community, to really catch on to these things and, get a hold of not just strong trends, but truly strong gameplay. We have some people who've only been playing since next gen, or who really picked up AC during 5, and they've become very proficient, impressive players. So this is definitely not a game where you have to sit around and twiddle your thumbs and wait, like 8 months, to a year for the community to catch up with something. No, it's an adaptive community, and they're willing to spend a lot of time on this stuff to truly get proficient at it.
Well, okay, so let me ask you this: what were some of the favorite things that you saw from other people today? Not from your perspective, but what you saw from other players, what they were doing.
Sure, just in terms of just how they use their ACs, their gameplay, and things like that.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, or I don't know, their emblems or.
Well, if we're talking about emblems, I will again mention Wave Samurai. He had a couple of really fun ones. I think he was mentioning his team emblem had a nice kind of luminosity, a bit of like a glow effect on it. I was kind of digging that. That was awesome. As far as some of the strats and tactics, you mentioned this today too, that the term DPS was getting slung around in our channel, and you were saying that should not exist, within Armored Core. That's in terms of the technicals, but I gotta admit, I laugh when the term came out there. It was a comment specifically for dislocation. Just the aggressiveness that he ran a number of his designs, and when he really got into begin his runs and his assaults, he would lay down some hardcore damage up front. And he normally have the right tool for the right situation, which was cool to see. I got to give definitely a lot of props on his end. Saw some great gameplay. I also give the fastest design that I personally saw today. I'm sure there are others, but the fastest design that I saw came from Zo4. He's very dedicated to his lightweight, very dedicated to his staple. And yeah, by all means, every time I see that thing go by, it was just a blur. And he had a good compact loadout on it too. Um,
I will second that. Probably my favorite thing I saw today was also from Zio. Not even so much the speed of ZC, but the fact that he only uses one.
yep, yep.
Doesn't change it. One AC.
And this is a point that we've heard debated from all different spectrums and all sides in our community. I've seen many discussions about, well, if you only use one AC, you're not getting a full taste of the parts. You're not really tasting the variety of what you could do with your leg type and design. Others say, no, no, no. It's about using your staple, using your AC that you said I would get in this AC and take on the world, and go do so just with that design. And I think before, at least for me, a lot of people felt like a lot of people were more polarized on that, right? That it was one or the other. But now with 5, there really isn't as much talk about it. If you run one design, cool. There's a lot of things you go through. All right, so be it. But that's
Well, I think the difference in damage and defenses in AC5 makes it, well, in this case, not impossible, but makes it nearly impossible to run just one AC. I mean, not to mention the environmental differences in some of the maps.
mm,
There are at least some maps that obviously favor other different builds.
right. And as a result, naturally, some people would, if they see said design a number of times, they'd want to attempt to run, the hard counter to it. But, I always say, more power to the people that are like, yeah, whatever, screw hard counters. You can run that all day. I'll run my design that I love and that I've, put my time and effort and sweat into, and I'm going to enjoy it, regardless any challenge. I think this was the very stance that we had from groups like Kansaya Blades way back when. Just for example, the pure dedication to the blading way, regardless of what you'd run into. and that's fun to see. I think any especially older AC players can kind of smirk when you see that kind of dedication to designs. It's a lot of fun. I felt that way about my retired series. I retired it with Glass Raven.
I usually try. I mean, I have. It's kind of funny, and this happens with most games, most AC games. I will build a lot of ACs,
Hmm.
and then I'll purge half of them. And things that I really liked about some of those ACs, I will try to implement other ones. Typically, I'll end up with maybe 3 or 4 builds, but I will always have the one build that I will use more than any other.
Right.
And AC5 is actually the first time that's been split between my midweight biped and my tank. Really enjoyed tanks this time around, and it's the closest it's ever been to not to having not just one dominant, but two really. And then there's a couple others that I play around with. But for somebody, I think with this game, with all the diversity in, like I said, damage and defenses and there's never been an AC game that's really where it's mattered so much the type of build, light, medium, heavy, and the type of legs. There's never been such diversity.
Right.
For somebody to pick one build and do really well with it, that I thought that was impressive. That was probably the favorite thing from me today that I saw from other players.
No, very very cool. This talk about build and build diversity in terms of what you'd run in five compared to some of the older games, and then and sharing the spotlight. Okay, with your designs. I know some players got really selfish with that spotlight. In other words, selfish as in focusing on their staple. In other words, their staple always had a certain hollowed feel about it that none other would touch. But you've just highlighted it. You've been a midweight biped player for a very long time, especially with rifles, and now you're kind of willing to share that stage with the tank a bit. And again, a lot of that comes down to what the mechanics we have presented in five, and just what you see in the field, or sometimes what map you run into. I run into it like I'll see Alpine, and I see that map, and occasionally I'm more inclined to run more of a fortress heavy design there, just due to I know the gate engagements will be rougher, especially on a team map. Um, you'll be directly in the firefight more, and I tend to like the slight extra buffer of survivability. But no, it's another one of those dynamics. I think that's just going to differ a little bit player to player, but it's still cool to watch.
All right, so I think we'll go to break at this point.
Yeah.
We're gonna come back. We're gonna talk a little bit more about today's exhibition, but
Hmm.
we're gonna get a little more verdict day centric
Yeah.
on things, and that's gonna kind of segue right into next week's show, which is gonna be all about obviously the game verdict day coming out the week after. So
You
this
bet.
next week's show will be just days before verdict day comes out. That'll obviously be the focus. So, but we're gonna take a break right now, and yeah, we'll see you in a moment.
Catch you in a second. Stay tuned.
Oh boy.
Hey everyone, welcome back to our second part of our exhibition coverage, as well as a little bit of AC Verdict Day sauce. Looks like Tierson, you found something on TV while we were
I
gone.
am watching a man in prison rap bread. This I guarantee you, our show is more entertaining than that, at least by a little bit. But that is pretty cool. And he was just rapping sandwich after sandwich.
Hey, real quick too, just one thing that we missed earlier, and I shocked you didn't catch me on this. Plugs. Remember, you
Oh
can.
no, I did. I forgot my plugs. I'll
I
do plugs at the end of the show.
That's fine. That's fine. We'll have them there. We always put them there too. But remember, email us at ravensvoiceacl@gmail.com. There will also be a link to our forum discussion thread for this very topic if you guys want to chip in on that. So,
Okay, there you
moving.
go. Man did the plugs this week. I'll do them again at the end, but there you go. That was pretty good.
There you go. See? So, moving a little bit into the verdict day discussion, along with wrapping up a few things we had about the exhibition. Um, like we mentioned in the first half, besides seeing a lot of people we were familiar with, Nana Basho and posters from all over the AC community, this was another great chance if you really wanted to today to come out and just kind of test your AC skills again, to hone a few things, just to get ready for Verdict Day. Because it's basically here, it's right around the corner. Uh,
Uh,
Coinciding with that, one thing we were really, really looking forward to today, and we kept hearing rumblings about it. We did not have anything guaranteed, but we kept hearing mentions, so we didn't know how this was going to go down to mention. But there was supposed to be some kind of release from Namco.
some kind of announcement from Namco today. Where was it?
Um, if anything, we wanted a chance to kind of sit down and talk with speak with Chang a little bit, but we did notice there, for some of you that might not have caught it, we did notice there was a video that's been released confirming the maps for Verdict Day. You've probably seen it in our promo, and we've spoken about it a couple of other times. And you can find it in Verdict Day news about the 56 maps there are going to be for this upcoming title. But we got some pretty fun details on it. Just a look at the maps themselves, their
Mhm.
names specifically, what they're like, and this is an official release, from and Namco. And I'll be sure to place a link for that trailer too, for those of you that want to watch that. That link will be in the description. Um,
It's cool. It was a cool video, but that was, I believe, released yesterday.
right,
That was not today.
right, right.
Where is today's announcement? Where is it, Zealous? What did you do with it?
Well, it's in the other back pocket, but it's at the cleaners. I don't
Oh
know.
boy. No, that
If
was
if it's something major, I'm sure it's we're going to be looking into it, and we're going to be discussing it next week as well, because next week is going to be all about Verdict Day coverage.
uh-huh.
But pausing real quick to look at what we have here and what we had presented in this vid that came out. The details in the maps. We knew that there were going to be little pointers at this is real world, like spots, or like the Middle East and whatnot, which is interesting to see for any AC universe. But
Hmm.
after taking a look a bit at each map and really getting a feel, I gotta say some of these I am really pleased with. Specifically at 1 minute 7, I believe in this vid, there's a map called Undertower, GF710. Can't wait. The last time that I personally saw a really cavernous space like that, that I can remember, these really just monolithic, kind of mecha science fiction style spots. It was in AC2 Another Age in the Lost Field, the missions where you were fighting against Stinger and Nine Ball Seraph. And you really don't get these halls a whole lot. If anything, it reminds me almost like of a giant railway. That map looks like a blast. And the last time I remember a huge map selection was during Ninebreaker. I guess you could talk about Last Raven and a few of the others if you want, or what we had in For Answer. But this is great. This is the most maps potentially we've ever had for versus in Armored Core, and it's going to be neat to see what that means.
Oh, I think
Gameplay.
not even potentially. This is the most amount of match we've ever had in
Yeah,
one game. I'm really excited about it. I posted on ACL about it briefly last night. It gives a lot more potential. Like even if several of the maps are crap, there's
yeah,
still 40 some other maps, and that's really cool. And they are subsectioned, and that's pretty neat. But it'll be interesting to see how this plays out a little bit too in the versus section
yeah.
in the conquest, or what's taking over for conquest, and how this will play a role in it. I'm sure it will play some role. That'll be kind of nice, because one of the things that was kind of hokey about conquest in AC5 was that regardless of the fact that you are actually fighting in different sectors, the
Hmm.
map is always the same.
Yeah. That you'd run across repeating field after repeating field. So this really falls into this whole ongoing dynamic campaign idea that they keep talking about with Verdict Day, that as you go through the game, and we don't know all the details yet, but you advance, that you'll be part of a broader campaign or a broader event. And just looking at the amount of maps, it feels like that. When you have that much terrain variance and things changing like that, it kind of feels like you're going through the paces more. You had some of your older titles that did it in the way of putting you in that same zone, but putting you in another part of that zone that you normally wouldn't have access to. And this is done sometimes in AC5 as well. In a few of especially the few of the order missions. But I just remember that especially prevalent in LR and a few of the older titles like that. So if they have that many maps as a selection on top of potentially, who knows, giving us an extra look at those zones through some of the missions, that's going to make for some pretty darn varied terrain, and that sounds awesome. Looks really cool.
My only worry is that we saw it with Ninebreaker, where
Right.
there were dozens of maps. There was over 2 dozen, I believe, or right around 2 dozen. Some of them were shit, and I am a little worried that we're gonna get 56 maps, and 40 of them are shit. And I am a little worried about that they're going to be small, that there's going to be so many invisible ceilings that you can't go out of area about. And that I am a little concerned.
Yeah.
I don't think that'll be the case just from what we've seen with AC5. It doesn't seem like that should be a
Right.
concern. But I would be lying if I said I wasn't a little worried about it.
You could always put another ice cap map on your wish list. And I know there were probably some people that enjoyed playing on that one, but I know personally I found that one of the most confining maps. However, it was difficult to really get fun maneuvering, and it was fun to kind of dance around the dangerous terrain. But it's a similar idea to Steeple, back from SL. Just really tricky. Going back to Verdict Day though, about some of the upcoming changes besides the maps, one thing we got to do today was just speak with people about the potential wish list. What's the community looking for out of Verdict Day? What are some changes we're hoping to see? And Discation himself, he happened to comment on the display, the heads-up display. In terms of combat, he was mentioning that he hopes that there's a change where things aren't as disfigured and blurred when your momentum shifts rapidly. That it's still a little difficult right now to fully make out every aspect in detail of your targeting, especially in really intense situations. So just a way for things to be a little sharper, a little crisper. If you're listening to this, you want to throw a note in. Please feel free to if there's something else you have to add on to. But this one resonated with me. I think it started a little bit in AC4 when we got the lockbox expanded to essentially your screen, and when you get a beat on your targets or get a lock, the text it was always a little harder to read. Yeah, I know some of this could be remedied if you had an HD TV. I was one of those guys behind the times and played on a standard TV a lot. But here we are, in the next gen consoles, and yeah, we have a ton of details on our display and lots of intricate things we'd like to keep an eye on and look at. But there's cases in combat where that's just not always practical. You're focused on other things. So I, for one, would love that. I actually wholly agree. I'd love to see a few things a little sharper. And sometimes it's those little details that I feel make the difference in combat, or even just those small little range judgments. So yeah, okay, some of our eyes are probably worse than some of you other fans out there, but
That would be me, my
yeah.
old guys.
I'm a glasses guy too, but I think that would be a great addition. So who knows? Maybe Tirson, you can confirm this too. And I could just be seeing things. I know in the past ACs, as far as the menu and like the displays being sharpened and whatnot, I personally felt there was a shift as just the displays, just what you'd see became a little sharper as we advanced in the PS2 series. They always seemed a little chunkier for AC2, for example. By the time we got to LR, you had your digits pretty sharp and everything like that. Did you feel the same thing, or did you kind of feel that they just roughly all looked the same, or just came across the same? The menus and your displays during combat.
Now, are you just keeping me to the PS2 games?
Um, you can expand it a bit, but yeah, let's look at the PS2 game specifically first. I think that matches the context I was speaking about better. Yeah.
Well, no, I agree overall. I think especially let's see, I think Ninebreaker had a pretty good user interface.
hmm hmm
Um, of course, nothing's. You bring it up, and I can't help but to bitch about it. Armored Core 4. This is one of the things that completely turned me off. The interface for that game was similar to what a 5-year-old would draw in a coloring book. It was just, at least as far as functionality, it was horrible. It was dreadful. This is a big deal. When it comes to getting around the game, going to where you need to go, and obviously a game like Armored Core is very intricate. There's a lot of different sections. There's a lot of different things to do. This is this is key. And AC4's was horrendous. I really like the interface for 5
Hmm.
when it comes to, getting around to different sections, going to different areas that you need to go to. It gets so in depth that it could be a little confusing, but
Hmm.
it does it well. And, I'm hoping that that stays the same with Verdict Day. But when it comes to what you referred to earlier as the HUD and
Hmm.
uh, and how that looks, there is absolutely no good reason why we can't customize that a hell of a lot more than what we can. We were talking about this briefly before we started recording, and I mean what we have right now is okay, but it could be so much more. There's absolutely no good reason why I can't make my HUD look like something from a previous AC game. There's none. The only exception to that being the FCS. Obviously, those things are a bit different,
Hmm.
and but besides that, there's no reason why I can't look up in the top left corner for my armor for my AP like I did for over 10 years.
AP placement. How about some subtle details? Remnants enemy. That's one I miss.
What
Uh,
is that?
uh, it had an odd name I know in the past, but remnants enemy, just remnants of enemy, just how many
Oh,
you
okay,
had
yeah.
left. I used to. It was great having that bar as a reference, like if you were, especially if you were trying to S rank, you were moving through missions at a certain speed. I know we had some diehards out there for altitude. They just love having that bar as part of it. Just heck, throw in all the bells and whistles and really make things crazy for your meter. Those little tweaks were fun. Heck, outer temperature. Sure. You know?
Yeah, yeah, why not? Those things are fun, and they're immersive, and that's what matters. They immerse you into the game that you're playing, and
They
that's
do.
important. And I think, like I said, what we have for AC5 is okay, but I could be so much happier with other things. But more than anything, I would be just so much happier if I could make the call myself
Hmm.
on how it looks. Do I want to use a HUD that is similar to AC2? Sure, why not? And why can't you give that to me? And or do I want to continue looking at something that's from AC5? There's
Right.
absolutely no reason why these things can't be options.
In in terms of raw aesthetic, though, if anything, I think some of those changes would kind of fit the model we have in five. I think five does a good job of this whole idea of immersion. You go from your garage hangar, whatever setting you want it to be in, to world map, expanded territory. The only time that things really break down into a real menu, kind of digital interface is when you're doing player search and matchmaking and whatnot. That's to be expected. Online lobbies, okay, that's different. But I already feel that there's a pretty good smooth transition between your garage area and between the world map area, and to have those things continue to develop and I think provide something immersive for AC. It's just downright fun. I think part of the reason we love this series so much is just the fluff like that. This is
Mhm.
such a premier mecha title, and I hope they continue along those lines with it.
Yeah, I definitely hope they don't go back to what they had in AC4. I'm going to harp on it because it was horrible.
Hmm.
I couldn't believe how they expected a player to go through that game.
Yeah, some of the nav. I think there's probably some voices out there that would say things were unfinished. I felt, especially in the vanilla four, there were a lot of things about the menus that just felt unfinished in terms
Mm.
of the navigation and everything. But that's something From have really stepped up, and hey, applause. And
Well,
even
didn't From actually say that they rushed AC4? I mean, not that they even need to say it. It's painfully obvious, but didn't they actually admit that?
they have, and I believe we talked about this in previous cast before. In fact, one thing I should look up, there was an interview with Mr. Zine before For Answer came out that was addressing some of these very factors. And so, apologies, I do not have that video on me right now. That's one I'd be happy to link or talk about in a discussion thread upcoming. But yeah, and I think it's great that From is always willing to come and speak about things like that or things that they felt were off about their own gameplay. There's another link I'm going to be placing in the description here. It's kind of off topic, I know, but it was a tour of From Studios. If you guys haven't seen it, please take a look. They talk with some of the AC staff, some of the people that worked on AC5, and then they just go through their studio a bit with some of the other games, Dark Souls and whatnot. But it gives you a good feel of From kind of what they aim for as developers.
That
And
sounds I have not seen that.
Oh yeah, hey, you want to check it out too, by all means. I felt it was something good just to kind of help us get within the creative minds that are there. It's a translative vid, has great subs to it and everything. And yeah, it's just like a company profile. Nothing long, nothing super long, but it's fun. And I won't prattle on about it. You guys can check it out. It'll be in the description. Please take a look at it, and I hope you enjoy it. That comes up.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do that. Thank you, sir.
No problems.
Sorry. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm in a weird mood again this week. I can be back to my normal, boring self next week, but I'm a little on edge again this week. Okay, all right. So, yeah. So you were talking to people about Verdict Day today.
Yeah, just getting the feel for what people are looking at and looking for. And again, we had dislocations reference. The other notes really followed similar lines. People are looking forward to the maps and new weapons. Tons of talk about the weapon arms today. If I recall, about 10 minutes before I left, that was one of the big things in the room. People were talking about, weapon arms, specifically the missile weapon arms. It looks like you're using 2 multi-paged iPad notebooks or something insane when those things fold up, except they shoot death. They look like a blast. And I mentioned this before too. I know weapon arms and quad legs are the 2 things that I'm just thrilled to see. And we've already had a view on the depth from show. For those of you that haven't seen it, they've been releasing usually multi-monthly, not every month, but multi-month little looks at Verdict Day and where it's going as a game and short interview questions about it. And they've popped up. We've seen all the animations and we've seen how they look. Obviously, we haven't taken them through the paces and in the important thing in combat and firing test yet, but we'll see. It's also important to note that the Depth 6 just came out, and I have not seen that yet myself. In fact, I was informed tonight. Thank you, Neshin, about the release of it. I usually track that well, but I'm going to see if I can track that down, and I won't put that here just because I don't have it on me right now.
But this is not Namco's announcement that was supposed to happen.
Correct. It's not. It's From's. So
I'm not letting it go.
Don't. This is one thing we were looking for today that may have well spilled into our next podcast, but there's a lot that remains to be seen here, and it's a bit of a mystery right now. So we've got a number of things on the table here. The expectations for Verdict Day. And we have these threads all over the community. You can go to ACU. You can stop by Mechaverse. You can stop by ACG. It's similar talk. For the both the Verdict Day wishlist threads and the Verdict Day the actual discussions. What people are mentioning. There's so much that we're looking for along similar lines here, and I think a lot of that comes the immediate exposure we get, whether that's through Facebook or how people hear about things in the trailers. That causes all the initial hype, right? But I know there's a lot of curious players out there that want to know about the raw mechanics and everything. And again, we're keeping within the AC5 verse, so we know we're not going to have an overhaul in that regard. But looking for some things to be tweaked, looking for some things to be sharper. Don't know if we'll get those display changes specifically yet. Doubt it.
No, we won't.
We won't. But
I bet the farm, and I don't actually have a farm, but if I did, I bet
the whole darn thing in your crop too. So
even the dog, even the farm dog. No, we won't get those. Yeah, in fact, I doubt there will be hardly any, if any changes to the HUD at all. So, what do you think? Was there anything else you want to talk about, or are we just filling here?
I think we're there. We got to play today. I hope you guys came out and enjoyed the exhibition. I hope you guys got a chance to get some games in, whether if you weren't in one of our rooms or there was another room or you were in Cheng's room. Hope you had a great time. Again,
in all sincerity, I've obviously been kind of cynical all night, but yes, always thank you to anyone who shows up and participates in these events.
Yep.
It's always necessary, especially when maybe not so many people show up, but always helps the community, and always thank you for anything it does. I was happy, as I usually am, to be able to participate and help. It's so important. So thank you.
It is. You guys are what drives all this. So. And if you guys, some of you were just waiting for Verdict Day to come to really pick up AC again, well, it's right around the corner. Go and reserve your copy if you haven't, or just get ready to check that out. We're right in the eve of it, so we'll look forward to seeing you guys, and hopefully, very hopefully, I'm sure we will, for an exhibition in the future for Verdict Day. So,
all right, can I do plugs now?
Hit it.
All right. So people don't forget to go to ArmyCorpsLegacy.com, register to become a member at the forums, and participate in all of our many great conversations. And actually, I know I've said it before, but love how busy ACL has been during this not so busy time for Army Corps, leading into Verdict Day. That's been great. And again, since I'm patting everyone on the back, I will pat everyone on the back for that too, for keeping that place interesting and fun and active. Now, besides that, if you want to send us an email, if you want to tell us something and you don't want anyone to know who it is, I don't know, for some reason, maybe you want to have more amenity over the internet, you can email us at ravensvoiceacl@gmail.com. And, we love the emails. We're always big fans of those. Even, if you tell us that you hate us, hey, cool. At least you cared enough to email. So, is that it?
On that note, besides what I talk about every week, again about our video competition status.
Is that our video competition? Is that really? That's somebody else's.
No, about the. If I really said our, I apologize for that. No, but the.
And if it was our competition, no one except for like 2 people would participate.
I know, right? No, the video competition between Griffin and Deemer. It's happening. We've had notes about this the last couple podcasts. We've been trying to keep a consistent beat on it and keep people watching it because it looks to be exciting. And again, I will be sure to place a link in the description. And those of you who want to follow the discussion thread that's been happening on ACU, that's been the most active spot for it. We are still waiting for that. We're still in the wings about it, but stay tuned. There should be details very soon. Just keep an eye on the thread.
Next week, we will be digging into Verdict Day. You heard us talk about it for the most part in the second part of the show, but we're going to really dig into that sucker. Mm-hmm. No, but we will. The whole show will be dedicated to looking at the game. We would love to hear from you first. Tell us, what are you most excited about? I'll be going to the forums to get a lot of that as well. But email us. Let us know, what are you really looking forward to besides weapon arms? Everybody's looking forward to weapon arms. And so what else are you really looking forward to? Let us know. We'll talk about it. And like I said, we'll be getting right into the heart of everything that we know about that game so far.
Right on. So until then, you take care. You guys have a wonderful weekend, and we will be here again, same time, same place. We will catch you next week. Thanks for tuning in.
All right. See you later.